So, what happens when you feed a lifetime of deep, personal, spiritual study into one of the most powerful AIs on the planet? Well, you might get a neat summary, maybe some interesting new connections, but what this researcher got was something else entirely. The machine uncovered a hidden war for the human mind. Let's dive into this pretty wild partnership between a spiritual seeker and an LLM. I mean, that's the big one, right? Can a machine really get the human soul? Philosophers have been debating that for ages, but this explainer looks at a fascinating modern experiment that tackles this question head-on, not with pure philosophy, but with a notoriously cryptic spiritual text and the raw pattern-finding power of AI. So, picture this. A researcher, Mark Masahiro Hirayama, has spent years of his life studying and annotating A Course in Miracles. He takes all of his personal notes, all 759 of them, and feeds them into a large language model. And what came back wasn't just a simple analysis. No, it was a detailed map of what the text calls a fundamental hidden war being fought for your mind. So what was this core discovery the AI spat out? It zeroed in on two completely opposite, mutually exclusive ways of thinking. The AI showed that according to the Course, these two systems, the ego and the Holy Spirit, are in a constant battle to become the lens through which you see absolutely everything. And here's how the AI mapped them out. On one side, you've got the ego's world. It's totally built on the idea that we're all separate, which, of course, leads directly to fear and feeling vulnerable. It's obsessed with the outside world, the form of things. But on the other side, you have the Holy Spirit's world. It sees only unity and love. It completely bypasses the temporary form to get to the content, the eternal truth underneath. The key idea here is that every single moment, you're choosing one of these two worlds. All right, so how exactly does the ego build its world of fear? According to the AI's analysis, it's not random at all. It's actually a surprisingly logical and destructive chain reaction. Let's trace the ego's blueprint step by step. It all starts right here, with the body. The ego's very first move, its foundational trick, is to convince us that we are our physical bodies. Think about it. By getting us to identify with something that's temporary, fragile, and separate, it automatically locks us into a state of vulnerability. This single belief is the cornerstone of its entire system of fear. This is the ego's playbook, laid out in 4 steps. First, the obsession with form, our bodies, our stuff, creates this constant, nagging sense of vulnerability. To deal with that feeling, we get pushed into what the Course calls acting out. Attacking others, defending ourselves, creating drama. But the text says this path always leads to the same place, a state of self-punishment, a self-imposed crucifixion. So, what is this acting out, or kodoka, as the researcher calls it? It's not just about losing your temper or being difficult. The AI identified it as a very specific, unconscious strategy. The ego wants you to project your inner pain outward. It creates external chaos, fights, drama, blame, specifically to distract you, to keep you from ever looking inside and healing the real problem. Okay, so that's the ego's doom loop. But thankfully, it's not the only game in town. The AI analysis also pieced together the text's radical alternative, the thought system of the Holy Spirit. And this one is built on a foundation of absolute freedom. This right here, this is the sentence that brings the ego's entire house of cards tumbling down. It's a total rejection of the ego's #1 rule. Because if you are not a body, then you can't be separate. You can't be vulnerable, and that whole chain reaction of fear we just talked about, it has nothing left to stand on. So how do we even begin to wrap our heads around this? The analysis pulled out this amazing concept the researcher calls the point at infinity, or Mugen Tenten. It's a mental tool. Imagine you're looking at the world from a viewpoint so far away that all the separate things, our bodies, our problems, our conflicts, they all blur and merge into a single unified point. From there, all our little differences just don't matter anymore. And that's the payoff, right there. When you start to identify with that unchanging content, your true spiritual self, instead of the fragile physical form, the entire system of fear and vulnerability just collapses. It's irrelevant. It literally no longer applies to what you actually are.
Okay, so we've got these two competing operating systems, one of fear, one of freedom. Theory is great, but the real question is, how do you actually switch from one to the other in your daily life? This is what led the researcher to build his own practical framework to do just that.
So, using the insights from his dialogue with the AI, Hirayama developed a practical system he calls Shinkidan. Now, the name itself comes from a type of Japanese storytelling, which is fitting because the system is all about changing your story. It's designed to be a bridge, turning these huge abstract ideas into a concrete daily practice. And this is the toolkit he came up with. On one hand, you have the practice, anti-mnemonics. Think of this as actively unlearning the ego's programming. It's like running a program to uninstall all the faulty code of fear and separation in your mind. Then you have the map, the topics of the Holy Spirit. This is the intellectual framework for the new system. It's the guide that helps you install and start running the Spirit's operating system of unity and love. When you step back, this whole experiment is about so much more than just a new way to read an old book. It really points to a completely new kind of partnership. So, what does this tell us about the future of how we search for meaning? The big takeaway here is that AI can be an incredible collaborator for deep spiritual questions. It's just brilliant at finding hidden structures like that ego versus spirit dynamic inside a huge mess of text. It's like having a microscope for thought itself. Now, it's not a guru. It needs a human partner to provide context, to steer it, and to catch those weird AI hallucinations. But as a tool for inquiry, it's a total game changer. The researcher ends his analysis with this line, which is just so perfect. We will meet again at the point at infinity. It's this beautiful nod to that ultimate perspective where all our ideas of separation finally dissolve back into unity. It's the real destination of this whole journey. This whole thing, this partnership between human intuition and machine intelligence, it really feels like the start of something new, a new era of self-discovery. If we can use AI not just to give us answers, but to help us see the hidden architecture of our own minds, you have to wonder, what other inner worlds could we start to map? What other frontiers could we explore together?